Hey, Israelite brothers and sisters, scattered, adopted, grafted, heirs, joint heirs. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button right there. So this is titled Israel and the Black Panther movie. Somebody should have known that this might be coming. But in reality, I had no intentions of going to go see the movie, Black Panther. I'm just not really a moviegoer. That's just me. But one of my subscribers asked me and gave me their viewpoint, and they thought maybe there might be some sort of connection with Israel and, you know, parts of it, the underlying message that was in the movie. So I went to go see the movie. And good morning. That's the reason why I went to go see the movie, by the way. Tia tuned in. So I went to go see the movie. You know, besides Africa just being rich with a lot of different stuff, and which we all know, you know, Africa, and I'm not going to tell you about the movie other than Africa has a lot of, is enriched with a lot of metals. And we know that there is a metal that is in every cell phone, and that comes from Africa. Apart from the gold, the diamonds, and everything that Africa is just overwhelmingly enriched by. There is a underlying message at the end that is referred to about people being scattered. But let me say this. Israel is not Africans. We're not Africans. We're Hebrews. Okay? We came from the continent, which is where all mankind came from. All of the sons of Noah came on this side of the flood, came from one man, Noah, and the whole earth was replenished by one man and his sons. And so that's the fact. Now, as Israel coming from Shem, because most Africans, all of Africans come from Ham. Israel being us, we came from Shem. And we know that the resemblance of us is close to Africans. We know that because when you read about Joseph, his brothers could not tell that he was their brother, but he was among the Egyptians. So we know that the features and the skin tone is the same. We know that when the Messiah hid in Egypt from Herod, you know that he had to be the same color as the Egyptians, although he was not Egyptian, he was an Israelite. So we know that. We know that Paul, who was an Israelite, he says he's the chiefest among Hebrews, and when he went to trial, they asked him, are you an Hebrew? I mean, are you an Egyptian? So we know that there's a close resemblance. It's almost like, because we're scattered abroad and about in South Florida, you have people from different cultures and backgrounds here. And you can ask a person who is from, let's say, Haiti, excuse me, I have a little cold, and you can say, are you Jamaican? They say, no, I'm Haitian. You can ask a Jamaican, you can say, are you Haitian? They say, no, I'm Jamaican. Eve's people are not but Eve's. We are really the Eve's people, not Eve but Eve's. Okay, I got you. But you know, we all come from one man. We all come from Noah. The whole earth was replenished. And I do a lesson on that. But the movie. I really didn't find a connection, a biblical irony in all of that. You know, I just I just didn't. That particular tribe, I know it's a name of a movie tribe, but the connection is that we are really the Eve's people, not Eve, but Eve's. Okay, got you. I don't know what that quite means, but we're not really Eve's people, but Eve's. The irony of the movie, if that particular tribe, T'Challa, okay, T'Challa is Jacob. Okay, I got you. I didn't make that connection though, but I got you. I didn't get that connection, but I got you now. And so when he said that at one part of the movie, Makuba is Esau who lives in the mountains. Ah, okay, gotcha. Makuba, okay. And maybe, see, I should have gotten that information before I went to see the movie, Tia, to find out who was the role players and all of that, because maybe it would have helped me. But I thought it was a good movie. One of the things that it was insinuated by one of the individuals that was sort of like when they didn't bring him back home, he grew up in a far land. He says, no, I don't want to live. I would rather be like our ancestors who just jumped overboard coming over on the ship. And that was the strongest connection that I found biblically. That particular statement is what I found biblically. And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was real interesting. I tell you what else I did like. Because that one part will open up a lot of conversation. And it does. It opens up a lot of conversation. When we came over on ships, I just like to Tia's got T'Challa wakes after being barred. Remember Bethel in Genesis. Let me read what you said here. Remember Bethel in Genesis, Jacob's dream. Ah, okay. I got you. And you know, yeah, Jacob dreamed he was barred. Okay. Wow. Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense now. Okay. I got you. So now when I put all that together, I'm kind of getting that. I'm kind of getting that. And so I'm not going to tell you, you all see what Tia's writing, but I'm not going to tie that into the movie in case you didn't go see it. Just remember maybe Tia, you can put something on there in the comment section about who the different players are, so that if somebody hasn't seen it and they watch this review, they'll know what to look for when they go see the movie. But it was good. It was good. I thought the information about us being rich in our heritage, knowing who we are, I went there to Killmonger is Jacob's descendant. Okay, gotcha. Okay. See, I think I wish I would have had that, because I could have put the players together. So you all are hearing this, and I'm talking like in circles, because I'm reading what Tia is typing back to me, which resulted of slave trade. Okay, gotcha. You know, when you look at the slave trade and what our people have gone through, and the heritage and the richness that's in Africa, you know, it makes you feel kind of deprived a little bit and proud on another hand, because you have to remember, you said I didn't want to influence your review. Well, let's say this. without having that information. Without having that information, I didn't see the movie from a biblical perspective. So I think if somebody goes in having that information prior to, it won't ruin their perception of the movie. It might bring some clear understanding, because I went in there without having formed an opinion, but I was told to just go check it out, that there's a connection. And after, when I read the scriptures, I just did not find the strong connection with Israel until the very end, when the descendant, he wanted the throne, but he said, listen, I'd rather die than have to be barred up. I don't want to be barred. I would rather die. I would rather jump over a ship. And, I want you to really think about Israel. Somebody taking you out of your land. Other Africans selling you because you're different from them. Israelites were circumcised. We had a day of worship. We did sacrificing. We had a whole culture of our own that was different from other African tribes. Okay? We were the same color, but we were different people. And they knew who to target. So when we were sold to the Grecians, and this is for some of the Israelite brothers out there that's just coming into it, and you out there on the corner being angry and mad at everybody, when you really should be looking at what happened and why the Most High put us in this predicament, because of our rebelliousness. When you look at that and look at everything that happened, could you imagine coming out and being taken as children, placed on the ships? It's amazing. They are showing the African Americans that have knowledge of the circumcision. Yeah, I'm going to read that to you. I want to read your comment. They are showing the African Americans that have knowledge that are not circumcised of the heart and are not ready to be on the throne. Wow. Okay. Interesting. You were showing in the movie, that's a good concept. Somebody's got here, the Eves are really people in the rest of Africa were the ancestors. Okay. I think he was responding to that. Represents he was like on the corner. Killmonger represents the yes. Yes. That I agree with. So, yeah, absolutely. The one that was left behind, he had a lot of anger in his heart. His anger was so fierce that he didn't even really care about the mission of what that nation was really about. And you know what? I see that 100%, because Israel's job was to bring salvation to the world, bring knowledge to the world. And that nation did not want to take the information and waste it. You understand what I'm saying? And had the information get into the wrong hands, it could happen that way. And I agree. If it's almost like the man that was with the apostles in the New Testament, who was a sorcerer, and when he saw the work that the apostles were doing, he tried to buy it. And when they explained to him, you cannot purchase this, They were healing, they were performing miracles, and they taught him Christ. When they taught him Christ and the Messiah, who the Son of the Most High was, he received salvation. What he tried to do was to revert back to what he used to do and to try to use the information to sell, to make money. And believe it or not, there are people who do that today. You know, people today know the truth. But because it will impact the offerings, it will impact the attendance, they won't do it. They won't do it. They'll use the Bible as a resource. They'll use the Bible as a mechanism. And I can tell you this Bible in the wrong hands can do a lot of damage. It can do a lot of that. It can do a lot of destruction. A lot. So from that perspective, Tia, I do see it. But overall, I thought the movie was good. You know, the hype of the movie, you made a video on the Black Panther. Okay. You did a YouTube video. I like to look at it. Send me the link. The movie itself, you know, when it comes to looking at Israel, I really like the movie Roots. I really like the movie Roots because I think the movie Roots it identifies the curses. And some people, there are generations today that have not even seen the Roots. I'm talking about there are probably kids who are 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old who have not seen the movie Roots. And perhaps if you wanted to bring in a biblical identity of Israel being scattered, I don't see Black Panther as being as effective as the movie Roots. And the movie Roots, I think that Tia says Black Panther explains the future rule of us. Very good. So perhaps in order to understand the future, we must understand our past. And the reason why I think that Israel, who is scattered, they have no hope for the future because they don't understand the past. If you understand your past, it would help you bring your future into a better perspective. So those of you that have children that are coming into the knowledge, I think that you should get the Bible, specifically Leviticus the 26th chapter and Deuteronomy the 28th. And I think that you should read that to your children. Have them read it and explain it to you aloud. And then watch the movie Roots. Take a Saturday evening or a Sunday evening and do that. That movie is about 2 hours long, but I think that if you read, yes, Deuteronomy the 28th and Leviticus the 26th chapter, I think that if you sit down and spend a family day, I think that it is very important to let our children know who we are from us, because they're not going to get this in school. And then later, if you want to show them the Black Panther movie, which is the promises to come, the kingdom that's going to be set up, I think that's good. I think that's a good idea to do. But I think it's very important you'll do your children disservice if you don't let them know who we are, okay? And watch the movie Roots. Read them Deuteronomy 26 and Leviticus 26 and Deuteronomy 28. Then sit down and go over the movie. And then after you go over the movie, you can start to talk about the Messiah when he's going to return. And he's going to return from us. And then take them back to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, where it says that if even the land where we are right now, if we return back to the Almighty, he will hear us. We will never come together as a nation until he returns. But as a family, as a community, we can receive the promises of the Most High while we are in a scattered land. We can. And then those of us that are in the Messiah, we are in him. We die in him. We die in the knowledge of the truth. Then Thessalonians says that we will become spiritual when the Almighty returns, when that sound of the trumpet. And that's why when I teach the feast days, I show the feast days coming from a second coming kingdom setup perspective, okay? And which is why we are doing the book of the prophets for our first Friday Bible study, so you can get an idea of what's going to happen in the future. So, showing your children and your family. And by the way, it doesn't have to be to your children. Your relatives who don't understand and they're looking at you like you crazy because you say you Israel, get the Roots movie. Tell them, say, listen, I'm not going to say anything. I want you to just make it a family event. You know, invite family over, get the popcorn, the snacks, and say, listen, I'm not going to debate this with you. I just want you to read together. Have everybody sitting around the TV. Make everybody read the same time, aloud, read together. Read Leviticus 26, read Deuteronomy 28, and then just watch the movie. And let your family see. And you will find out historically, nobody on the continent of the earth who has gone into slavery, and a lot of people have gone into slavery, but nobody like the transatlantic slave trade. Nobody. The Bible speaks for itself. History speaks for itself. And, you know, it just kind of gave me an idea. That's why I like when I tune in and some of you all are live, you give me ideas that come to my mind. I'm going to grab the young people in our congregation because as a pastor, I recently came into the knowledge about 2 years ago. That's it, just 2 years ago. Although I've always suspected, just from reading Deuteronomy, a light bulb would flicker, just flicker. But once I retired and I was able to meditate in the Word every day, the light bulb stayed on. And that was amazing. When I tell you it was amazing, I remember sitting there, and once I came into the understanding, I got up from the table. I couldn't stop walking. I was like, oh my God, this is us. That there is us. That's me. Wow. And let me tell you, I mean, it was like the Almighty can only show you. Once he shows you, I can't even explain what comes over you. Some people it's anger. Some people it's joy. Some people it's joy and anger. I really can't explain it. But once it came over me, I was like, oh my gosh. I recall just being proud. And even, let me get back to the Black Panther movie. Could you imagine this guy who was, the son left in America, and he made some comments he was very successful in everything that he did because he knew who he was. That's amazing, you know? Could you imagine knowing who you are? And the Bible says, whatever your hands touch, you will be blessed. Wherever you walk, you will be blessed. Could you imagine, although not everybody is a racist, not everybody has racism in them, but can you imagine that when I go someplace now and I know who I am, I walk in every room and every setting like I am an Israelite. I am the book. I'm special because I'm Israel. And you can come join with me. You can, as a stranger, you can come sojourn with me because I want you to, because that's what the Messiah wants. He wants us to take this knowledge to the world. You understand what I'm saying? So I have the resource. I have the titanium. I have it. And I want to give it to you. I have the keys to life. I know how to interpret the Bible. It feels good when you can look at the Bible and not be taught to take the Old Testament and throw it away. You understand what I'm saying? So it's amazing. One of my subscribers says when she came into the truth, she cried. You know, I know a lot of people that told me that. They just cried. They just, tears came over their eyes. Let me tell you the sadness that came over me when I found out that we were Israel. What was sad is that I know a lot of people that are keeping the Sabbath and the feast days, but they don't know that we're Israel. And I was saying, man, it's sad that they don't know who they are. That knowledge has been removed from them. That information. And what was also sad was when I tried to show people, I'm talking about our people of color, people who are through the transatlantic slave trade, who are children of the children's children's children. And I'm trying to show them, and they said, you're crazy. That's not important. And I was like, man, wow. I remember telling a group that the people of the Bible were of color. They were darker than me. Let me tell you, that to see people of our color twitch and be angry because you telling them the true color of the Messiah, that's what was sad to me. That was sad. It made me sad. And to tell people and show them to take the biblical scriptures and tie it into educational history books, and they say, twitch, look at you. That was sad. That was sad. And let me tell you what was even more sad. There is a rabbi, a Caucasian rabbi in Denver, Colorado. And I made contact with the ministry. This guy had a predominantly Caucasian audience. And he was doing a PowerPoint that the people in the Bible are completely of color. He said he would venture to say that 80 or 90% of the tribes of Israel were people of color. And how he went to different Caribbean countries taking this knowledge, and he was asking people what color Abraham was, and Isaac says, how many of y'all think that he was white? Raise your hand. And he said, majority audience raised their hand. He says, how many of y'all think that he was black? Only a few. How many of y'all say that you really don't know? Well, some of the people who raised their hand who were white raised their hand. And so it was, and I'm watching these people take notes. Caucasian families, they had the kids beside them, and he's saying Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they were all black. They were people of color. And I watched these families take notes, and they wasn't squimming. They wasn't, I remember I was invited to do a presentation at a Christian church, and you invite me, I'm going Black History Month, I'm gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you. But I remember last year, I remember the pastor's wife came up to me and she says, well, I just think that I'm a son of, I just think I'm a child of God. That's okay with me. I hear what you're saying, but I'm just a child of God. And I said, yeah, you're a child of God, but you're Israel. She says, well, I like the presentation, but, that's just what I think. I said, okay. Now, but it's sad when our people, you got to twist their arm. And you can take a white rabbi, Messianic rabbi, teaching a predominantly white congregation that most of Israel was black and people of color, if not all, he says. And you got people taking notes and writing down scriptures and comparisons. That's what was sad for me. That was really sad. I had to get my deliverance from being sad out of the scriptures where it says, I will put a wool over their eyes, and they will no longer know who their forefathers are or their ancestors. And so in other words, it's going to be hidden from them. Dorothy wrote, I want to see what you wrote, Dorothy. Wow, where did it go at? She wrote down, and I want to read that because I have to go after this. Wow, Dorothy, I want to read what you wrote. Okay, here she wrote. She says, it makes me sad that my family won't even read Deuteronomy with me just to discuss it. They won't know part of it. Israel family wrote, yeah, it's sad. It really is. It's sad that we go through that, you guys. But it's a blessing because not everybody's eyes will be opened up. That's important to know. And let me say this to you. Let me say this to you all. And it's going to sound far-fetched, but I don't have time to really go into it. But let me just share this with you. In order to be in the first resurrection, you must know who you are. I think that is a key element. And here's why. Here's why. Because in the kingdom, when the Messiah sets up the kingdom, there has to be somebody that knows who we are and who can also show the plan to salvation, being the feast days. So everybody's eyes won't be opened up. So if your eyes are opened up, one, and if you can accept the Messiah, that he is the plan to that salvation, and salvation comes through the Messiah, and because we love the Messiah, we keep Torah, you are a prime candidate to be a part of the first resurrection. That's what I believe. I'll share that with you at a later date. I'm going to go do a community Bible study that I do every Wednesday at Bethel. So I always provide lunch for everybody. So I'm going to go do that now. I'm going to go get the lunch. I'm going to go provide everything. So I'd like to say to all of you all, be blessed, peace, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Israel family. Dorothy. There were some other people. Somebody else that had tuned in. I'd like to just say hello to you all. There was Israel family. There was Dorothy Bonds. There was another guy. Well, I'm scrolling through all of this. I don't want my phone to fall. So listen, bless all of you all. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.